I'm 65 years old, and 3 weeks ago, standing in my kitchen at 2 a.m., staring at a refrigerator full of food I didn't cook, I realized something that made my chest tighten. I'd been lied to my whole life, not by one person, by everyone, by society, by the commercials, by the retirement brochures with the smiling couples on beaches, by the financial advisors who promised me that if I just saved enough, did everything right, followed the plan, I'd be happy. I'm not, and I need to tell you why. Because if you're on the same path I was, you're heading toward the same cliff. My name's Robert. I worked for 43 years. Started at 22, retired at 65. I did everything they told me to do. I climbed the ladder. I maxed out my 401k. I bought the house, paid off the mortgage, saved for vacations I barely took. I sacrificed weekends, missed my daughter's recitals, skipped my son's baseball games because I was building something, a future. And now that I'm here in that future, I finally see the lie, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back. When I was 25, I sat in a conference room with a financial planner named Greg. He had a PowerPoint. Slide 1 showed a man in his 60s on a golf course laughing. Slide 2 showed a couple on a boat. Slide 3, freedom. Greg said, Robert, if you put away 15% of your income every year, avoid debt, and stay disciplined, by 65, you'll have everything you need. You'll be free. I believed him. I believed all of it. Because that's what we're taught, right? Work hard, delay gratification. Sacrifice now so you can live later. So I did. I worked 50, sometimes 60-hour weeks. I turned down trips with friends because I needed to save. I told my wife, let's wait until I retire, then we'll travel. I told my kids, Daddy's working so we can have a better life. And I meant it. But here's what Greg didn't tell me. Here's what nobody told me. My wife, Linda, passed away 2 years before I retired. Cancer. It was fast. 6 months from diagnosis to gone. And in those final weeks, as I sat next to her hospital bed, she said something I'll never forget. I wish we'd gone to Italy. We talked about Italy for 30 years. Always next year. Always after I got the promotion, after the kids graduated, after we paid off the house. Next year never came. She died having never seen the Amalfi Coast, never walked through the Colosseum, never tasted real gelato in Florence. And I was the reason why. Not because I didn't love her, but because I was so focused on the future that I forgot to live in the present. But even then, even after her funeral, I kept going. I kept working because I thought, if I can just make it to 65, if I can just finish the plan, it'll all make sense. It didn't. June 14th, my last day of work. They threw me a party, cake, handshakes, a plaque that said 43 years of dedicated service. My boss gave a speech about how I'd earned this, how I deserved to finally relax and enjoy life. Everyone clapped. I smiled. I drove home, walked into my empty house, and sat down on the couch. And I thought, now what? Here's the thing they don't tell you about retirement. It's not freedom. It's a void. For 43 years, my identity was my job. I was Robert, the project manager. Robert, the guy who got things done. Robert, the provider. And now I was just Robert. No title, no purpose, no reason to get up in the morning. I had money in the bank, enough to live comfortably. I had a paid-off house. I had everything the plan promised me. But I didn't have Linda. I didn't have my kids nearby. They'd moved across the country for their own careers, just like I taught them to. I didn't have hobbies because I'd spent 40 years telling myself I'd pick up hobbies later. I didn't have friends outside of work because I'd spent every evening too tired to socialize. I had wealth, but I didn't have a life. And that's when it hit me. The lie wasn't just about retirement. The lie was the whole thing. The idea that happiness is something you earn after decades of sacrifice. That fulfillment is waiting for you at 65 if you just work hard enough, save enough, deny yourself enough. That's the con. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. I'm going to share 5 things I wish someone had told me when I was 25. And if you're younger than 65, if you're still building your career, still chasing the next raise, the next promotion, please listen, because I don't want you to end up where I am. Money you can always make more of. Time, once it's gone, it's gone. I spent 43 years trading time for money, and now I have the money, but I've run out of time for the things that mattered. Linda's gone. My kids are grown. My parents are gone. The friends I had in my 20s, I don't even know where most of them are. I saved for later, but I forgot that later has an expiration date. If there's something you want to do, a trip you want to take, a person you want to see, a dream you want to chase. Don't wait. Do it now, because later might not come. When I retired, I lost my sense of self. For 4 decades, I was what I did. And when I stopped doing it, I didn't know who I was anymore. I see this now in other retirees, men and women who spent their whole lives as doctors, lawyers, executives, and now they're adrift. They volunteer just to feel useful. They take part-time jobs just to have somewhere to go, because they never built a life outside of work. Don't make that mistake. Find out who you are beyond your job title. Invest in relationships. Develop hobbies. Build a version of yourself that exists independent of your paycheck, because one day the paycheck stops, and you'll need to know who you are when it does. I thought providing for my family was love, and it was, but it wasn't enough. My kids don't remember the promotions I got or the bonuses I earned. They remember the games I missed, the bedtime stories I wasn't there to read, the weekends I spent at the office. I thought I was building a better life for them, but what they needed was me, not my money, me. And now they're adults with their own lives, and we're not close because I wasn't there when it mattered. I can't get that back, but you can still choose differently. Show up, be present, put your phone down, skip the extra project at work, and go to the recital, because your kids won't remember your bank account. They'll remember whether you were there. When I was 60, I thought about retiring early. I had enough saved. I was tired. Linda was starting to get sick, though we didn't know it yet. But I told myself, just one more year, and I'll have a bigger cushion. One more year, and I'll feel secure. That year turned into 5, and by the time I finally stopped, Linda was gone. I would give every dollar in my retirement account to have that year back, to have taken her to Italy, to have walked with her on the beach, to have spent mornings drinking coffee on the porch instead of in traffic. If you're putting off life for just one more year, stop. You don't need as much as you think you do, and the cost of waiting is higher than you realize. The biggest lie of all is this, that happiness is something you arrive at, that if you just work hard enough, sacrifice enough, save enough, one day you'll get there. You won't, because happiness isn't at the end of the road. It's the road. It's in the small moments, the Tuesday morning breakfast with your spouse, the weekend hike with your kids, the random conversation with a stranger that makes you laugh. I spent 43 years chasing a finish line, and when I finally crossed it, there was nothing there, no confetti, no relief, just silence, because I'd missed the point entirely. 3 weeks ago, standing in my kitchen at 2 a.m., I made a decision. I'm not going to spend my remaining years waiting for life to feel meaningful. I'm going to build meaning. I signed up for a pottery class. I know it sounds ridiculous, a 65-year-old man learning to throw clay, but I always wanted to try it, and I'm done waiting. I called my son. We hadn't really talked in months. I apologized. I told him I was sorry for not being there more when he was young. We're planning a trip, just the two of us, fishing, something we never did. I'm volunteering at a local food bank, not because I need to feel useful, but because I want to give back, because I spent so long taking, building, accumulating, and I forgot to contribute. And I'm writing this down, because I don't want you to learn this lesson the way I did. I don't want you to reach 65 and realize you traded your life for a lie. Here it is. You are not your job. Your worth is not measured by your productivity. Your life is not something you earn the right to live. After 40 years of sacrifice, you have one life, and it's happening right now, not at 65, not after the promotion, not when you have more money in the bank, right now. So stop waiting, stop delaying, stop telling yourself you'll live later, because later is a myth. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life preparing for a moment that never comes. I'm 65 years old, and I finally understand what living means. I just wish I hadn't waited so long to figure it out. Don't be like me. Start living now, before it's too late.